Hi, everybody. We're on the road in Sarnia, Ontario, here at the Judith and Norman Alex Art Gallery in Sarnia, Ontario, surrounded by the beautiful work of local artist Gary Spearin. For years, this city has been known for its reliance on the petrochemical industry, and like many places in Ontario, it is grappling with a slowdown in one of its major industries and stagnating population growth as well. So, in our latest On the Road series stop, we are asking, what can Sarnia do to improve its economic fortunes? Joining us for that discussion, the Mayor of Sarnia since 1988, there's Mike Bradley. Bev McDougall is here, City and County Councillor and the Warden for Lambton County. Judith Morris, President and CEO of Lambton College and its 3,500 full-time students. And Nathan Colhoun, co-owner of Refined Fool Brewing Company. Nathan, that title is going to require some explanation, I think.
Right now?
Sure.
All right. There's 10 of us that started the brewery, so I'm one of 10. And we started a brewery a couple of years ago here in Sarnia.
One of 10 refined fools?
One of 10, yeah. There's quite a few of us.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for gathering here in this very beautiful space here in Sarnia. And let's start by sharing with our audience numbers that you guys already know very well. Population growth. Between 2006 and 2011, this city's population grew by 1.3%. That sounds okay, except when you compare it to the rest of the province of Ontario, where the average population growth is 5.7%. Sarnia's population is now 72,000, but it is projected to drop off to 66,000 by the year 2031. And on the issue of employment, same kind of situation. Unemployment in Sarnia sits at just under 9%, and that compares to the Ontario unemployment rate province-wide, which is about 7%. So let's talk about the future of this place and, Mr. Mayor, what you see going forward. Population growth, how important is that to the future of this community?
Yeah, Steve, it's everything. And I think the community recognizes that. What happened here in the 90s when we lost thousands of jobs, 7,000 in a community of the population numbers you just mentioned, it was devastating, absolutely devastating. And it was tough. The first few years, people were looking for scapegoats. But out of that came this community collaboration. Our economic partnership, which 3 of us here are part of, is community-driven. It's the only one I know in the country that has business and labor at the table, and the First Nations, educators, and 2 politicians. And it has scoped in on some strategies. We have a research park now with Western University, very closely linked to the college. We have developed a number of companies coming in that are in the biofuel sector. We're moving away from fossil fuels. And we are aggressively trying to bring in immigrants, from refugees to newcomers, because it is our future. We need to be at 7% across this province in our growth in the next census. We can't be at that 1.2%.
Judith, let's pick up on how you see potential strategies for improving the population of this area. What do you think?
Well, certainly for one, we attract heavily by developing very interesting, unique programs. We attract heavily from outside of the catchment. And when we do that, and we have now changed those numbers significantly coming into our county, by doing that, we have brought in people who otherwise wouldn't come, and they may, in fact, stay. That's one way. Another way is international students. We have a clear strategy on that, and we've gone from about 60 students about 10 years ago to 450 international students.
From where?
Mostly from India, but certainly from China and Nigeria and many other countries, but those are the 3 major areas.
Obvious question. Why does somebody from China want to go to a community college in southwestern Ontario?
Well, that's a really good question. First of all, in 1996, Lambton College was one of 3 institutions to actually gain the approval of the Chinese government to have campuses in China. So we have 3 major campuses in China right now. We have about 3,500 students in China, and we've developed relationships as a result of that so that they can start in China and finish in Sarnia.
And do any of the students who come over from China, India, wherever, and come here for their program, do they stay?
They do stay.
They do?
They do stay.
Huh.
You know, as much as China is obviously a huge, huge country, what isn't always available in China is safety. And they see that as very attractive. I think they see the blue water and the friendliness of the community as very attractive. They certainly don't all stay. Some go on to university and out to do jobs in other places, but a very large number. And I think when the stats are reviewed, you will see that a lot of the international people or immigrants who stay here started off as students at the college.
Okay. Bev McDougall, first question for you is obvious. What's a warden?
Head of Lambton County Council.
Okay, so where we in the 416 or in the 613 or whatever would have a mayor or a regional chair or something like that,
Yes,
you call them
yeah.
wardens here.
Yeah, it's an old form of government, it's an old title, but it boils down to the same thing. Leader of the council, voice of the community, voice of the decision making.
Got it. So he's the mayor of Sarnia
Yeah.
alone, and you are like the super mayor of the county. Is that the way
I
it's
did, no, I don't really want to go there, Steve.
And I'm part of that council.
And you're part of,
Yeah.
Part of
the
that
county council
We're
as well.
out there together because we both represent people from Sarnia, but out at the county, there are actually 11 municipalities of our community that are represented there. And we actually deal with a different suite of services at the county than we do here
Okay.
locally in the city.
Tell me how you're going to get the population of this area up.
Culture. It's a pretty exciting future for our community. The county undertook the development of a cultural plan a few years ago. We understood that as Judy and others worked at bringing people internationally into our community, we would grow a more diverse population. We knew that already in our industrial community, we had a lot of international engineers flowing into here through the economic partnership and other vehicles. So the whole thing is that as you diversify your population and you bring new people from other countries, then there's an opportunity to express that culture and share enthusiastically your own.
What's the thing that you think Sarnia has going against it that's preventing that from happening right now?
Not a darn thing.
Okay, maybe I should ask this question a different way. If you ask people around, let's say around Canada, give me the elevator pitch. You really ought to come to Sarnia and check us out because what?
We have a wonderful climate. We have developed some wonderful facilities throughout the county. We have 3 theaters that are quite different. We have this amazing art gallery facility. We have got some history here that goes back to the discovery of oil. First commercial oil well in North America was discovered out of here. So we have a very
no one knows that, do they?
No, they don't.
know. Oil
They
was
don't.
discovered here.
That's right.
Not
That's
Texas.
No.
Here.
And our economy grew from that discovery. So there's an interesting story to tell. And over the course of our history, we've shaped an economy. We were challenged by the change of the economy in Canada. We've stepped up, and we are very enthusiastically sharing this face of our community that is expressed in our local theaters. We express it artistically here with a local artist. We welcome people from other countries. As Judy talked about people coming internationally, I have many Chinese students living in my neighborhood because they actually board with people because they want to be part of our community. We're the right size for families internationally to send their kids here.
Well, let's check out those who haven't come here from a long way away. Let's check out one guy. You're from here, aren't you?
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yep.
And what do you do now besides the brewery?
When I moved back to Sarnia from school, I went to school in Toronto. I started a marketing company. And so that really gave me a lot of insight about what this kind of city needed. So we work with the county, the city, the college, and really help to target people that aren't from here to help them understand why this is a great place to come as well too. And the brewery, I guess, was a thing that we saw in a lot of other cities, and we saw it going very well for people our age. And so that really kind of fit into my overall strategy and my friend's overall strategy of something that would help Sarnia be the kind of place that people can be proud of.
Let me take you back to the end of university, because of course the one thing we hear frequently from many parts of Ontario is that their biggest export is young people. But you decided to come back.
Yeah,
How
I was definitely seen as a strange person in Toronto because everyone was asking each other what they're doing after. I'm like, I'm going back to Sarnia, and the look of disgust on their face, like, why would you do that? There's no opportunity there. I was like, Sarnia is the greatest city in the world. Like, I have zero problem saying that anymore. And we've started a community of people where we've actually moved 12 of our friends from school and different connections there who have all moved to Sarnia and helped start the kinds of businesses that we're going on, because Because of the size of Sarnia, there's very little barriers to actually be an entrepreneur and for the kind of opportunity that people are looking for in big cities. Everyone has a dream to start a brewery in a big city, and we just did it with no debt, with just a group of friends that said, we have a good idea, let's just do it. Everybody owns their home. People are having kids here. Everybody can walk to each other's houses. So what we're doing in Sarnia is actually what everybody wants to do in the bigger city, but they just can't make it happen.
What you say is not so crazy, because I do remember Jim Balsillie once telling me that after he graduated from Harvard, I'm going to Wall Street, I'm going to Washington, I'm doing this. He said, I'm going back to Waterloo. And they all thought he was nuts, and of course, all he did was go on to help BlackBerry get pretty big once upon a
We're
time.
getting a lot more of that now because of, especially downtown. It's cheap, it's affordable, there's a real buzz happening about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, when we go back to the original question about attracting people, is probably the best direction for us, beyond bringing in students, is because it's self-starting and often can bring many more jobs with it than trying to come in here and find a job. And we're going through that right now with Syrian refugees we're bringing in. Trying to find employment is a real challenge and get them to the place where they can be contributing to the community. But I agree with what's said here. I mean, we've always struggled with the image of the community. That's just a reality,
What do you
right?
think that image is?
Well, I think it's changed, but the word chemical, we make chemicals here, everything that we make here is needed in everyone's life. Mm-hmm. And yet the word chemical over the last couple of decades has taken a negative connotation. We certainly had, when I first became mayor, I was determined to change the image of the community. And it's been a very incremental uphill climb, but it's happened. We don't have the issues with the St. Clair River. The St. Clair River is going to be delisted as an area of concern on the Great Lakes in the next couple of years. The industry has done a lot. But that image is still there to some degree. But with what's happening with the college, our research park, we just announced, we got a $200 million plant here that's taking corn and making it into car parts. Like, we're doing things here moving away from fossil fuels. So it's going to take time. But I'm cognizant. I came here as a child of immigrant Irish parents. We didn't know a soul in this community. We didn't know a soul in Canada. And when we came here, this was the most prosperous community in Canada, income-wise. So we've had to adjust to the fact that reality has changed. But when I'm seeing the dynamics in the community, it's an overused word, and every community says it, but it's true here. It's the collaboration between the different people, organizations. When you have business and labor, if you want to build a plant here, business and labor will give you a special deal where there'll be no strikes. They'll lower the cost on the construction, and they get the maintenance on the plant. That doesn't happen anywhere else.
How can labor guarantee no strikes?
They take a vote on it. We put in place a number of these agreements. They're called project agreements. Business and labor agree, and the plant's built with no strikes because all the unions have voted on it. And then they take a small percentage decrease in pay, and they get to work on the plant. Everyone wins from that. And that's one of the things I think is wrong in this country right now. We still have business and labor shouting at each other. That doesn't happen here.
We all know education is the key to the future. So you are ideally placed, obviously, to help make some of that happen. We also know, however, that there are many people who are graduating into a market right now that doesn't have jobs for them. How confident are you in being able to say, if you come to Lambton College, there's a job waiting for you after you graduate? Can you really say that?
I can. 93% of our students get jobs.
In the field they want?
That's that they get jobs, and in the field that they want, it depends on the program. So those stats are relative to each program. So some of our biggest programs are in the petrochemical area, but those programs are programs that can be, and this is the beauty of them, they are generalizable to almost any processing plant across the world. So our process operators can work in the bioindustrial area. Our process operators can work in food industry. So, and our instrumentation and control operators or technologists can work in any industry. And so the ability for our students to take their disciplines and move them into an industry and make them work in that industry is really significant. And we've developed the programs so that they can do that. I want to also add that we've developed a Center of Excellence for Energy and Bioindustrial Technologies. And so that's a key strategy in this area. And the mayor referenced it, and we've referenced it earlier, but we will be the bioindustrial cluster for North America.
For all of North America?
Yes, I would say that we will be. We're not there yet, but we are well on our way. We have the bioindustrial Industry Canada, BIC, we call it BIC, which is an accelerator. We have the Western Research Park, which offers places for pilot plants in the bio industry and many other areas. We have our Center of Excellence that focuses heavily on applied research in the bioindustrial area. We just last year raised $10 million in research grants to assist the community in moving in this area. That also links highly to the entrepreneurial area. And when you have all of those people working together, you have a synergy that will take this area much further into the future.
Okay, let me put a new angle on the table. You've talked about business and labor, you've talked about the education piece. We're sitting in an art gallery.
That's right.
So let's talk culture. Do people really think Sarnia when they think culture?
Once they get here, and as Judy and others have talked around this discussion this morning, we have fostered a spirit of innovation. And when you do that in a community, you need to invest in cultural capital and build facilities where that innovation and your local changing culture can be expressed. And that, I think, is what is really important in a knowledge-based economy that we're in now. I think the fact that we began to sundown as a petrochemical strength, it forced us to early innovation that made us a leader in that direction. So our local community college partnered with an academic university 60 miles down the road. Our whole economy was full of engineers and technologists, but as new people come to your community, they're interested in vastly different things than the people who probably shaped this city so many years ago.
Okay,
and
Nathan,
that's where I think it's important to have those facilities.
follow up on that, Nathan. What arts, culture, interesting things for younger people to do? What does Lambton County and Sarnia in particular have on offer?
Yeah, see, my angle is a little bit different because for me, it's very less like top down, like thinking of all like the cool things we have. And you look at, I could name you 20 people that I want to hang out with and spend time with. And that's what happens downtown. And that's what happens in these little pockets. And Sarnia is the kind of place that really cultivates that kind of deep community and relationships. And from that, I think that education happens, innovation happens, and people are inspiring each other to start new things. The amount of people that come to me every week now with a new idea that they want to start because they see me as the kind of person that can get new ideas done for people to get excited about downtown or in Sarnia in general is phenomenal. So for me, it's about the quality of relationships and the quality of people that are here, and then really helping them grow into that kind of potential that they had.
Okay, speaking of new things, let's talk a little more about the brewery. When did you start it?
So we started May 2014.
And how's it going?
Incredible. When we started, we thought we were going to brew 1,000 liters a month and maybe sell it. We opened our doors and we have been brewing basically every day since, and we can't keep up. So we have to contract brew with other breweries from elsewhere in Ontario just to keep up with the demand of beer that we sell just out of that building downtown Sarnia. And now we're in the LCBO spreading across Ontario. We're expanding to a new building in about 8 months here in Sarnia, and the city has welcomed us with such open arms. Like when they see a group of 10 people from the city, you know, the amount of grandmas and aunts and cousins and friends that come in and be like, hey, you know, you're this guy's second cousins. Like Sarnia is an amazing community like that where everybody kind of has some idea about each other. And so when they see an idea start that came from the minds and the hearts of people in Sarnia, they get really excited about that and they support it.
Why did you want to get into that business?
Because I like what it represents in terms of the community. Like the brewery now has become kind of this cultural hub, and talking about culture where we have an art wall, we have music going on in there, we have theology on tap nights, we have different book clubs that meet out of there, we have a stitch and sip group of, you know, a wide range of ages that come in together and crochet. And
did you repurpose an old building?
Yeah, it was actually the Sarnia Historical Society for a while before, and Blue Water Hair Design. So it was a building that they weren't sure what to do with it. They thought maybe some offices, and we just ripped everything out, gutted it to the core, and now it's just kind of this cool industrial looking place.
How much did you spend on doing that?
Our initial upfront costs were maybe about $100,000. We're leasing it from a great landlord that's kind of doing a lot of that work for us, and we did it all just by initial investment from all the people that were involved. So we were able to start off the ground without any debt, and yeah, right now we're looking to kind of repurpose another old building downtown and start to draw in more people because of that.
And what are your revenues now?
The revenues we're in, what's the number? 7 digits. I'll say that right now, which is incredible
So
for
you're over $1
2
million
years.
in revenues annually.
Yeah.
And we enthusiastically support them, as Nathan said,
Yeah.
because everybody in Sarnia knows one of these partners' family. And so if you think of our population as being around the 70,000, mark, you're known. You're known to all of us, and particularly in the downtown. Our family knows several of these partners. First microbrewery in town, we want it to be successful. And they also make a great product. And they're enthused about their own community. And because we want to go forward into a new economy, we're making sure you're successful.
Yeah. And it's been an amazing partnership with the community. And then what ends up happening is the craft brewery industry is a very friendly kind of open source community where people are talking.
Yeah, but it's competitive as hell. I mean, there's so many people in this space.
It's the kind of competitiveness that everybody wants the other person to succeed. Like when we started, we could call any craft brewery and they would tell us everything we needed to know. They would tell us where to go. And what ends up happening is you have people that want to start craft breweries in bigger cities saying, hey, how did you do this? And we show them our budget and they're like, oh, we can't do that here. Because Sarnia, again, has low barriers, and to do amazing, beautiful things that would cost millions of dollars in Toronto, we can do it for a fraction of the cost here. And all of a sudden, all of Sarnia gets access to the kinds of amazing activities and cultural kind of hubs that bigger cities have.
Your Worship, have you tried his beer?
Yes, I have.
And what makes
It's
it
important for me to support local businesses.
Of course, for that reason only.
I mean, I think it's marvelous. It's the type of story that's is popping up all the time in the downtown in particular, but throughout the community where people are taking care of their own future. One story that I do love when you talk about the image and what people think about Sarnia. Years ago, Chatelaine magazine picked us as one of the top 10 places to live in Canada, right? Well, I'm naturally curious because I've seen the bad publicity on occasion over the years. So I asked them why. And they said they talked to all the top relocation services, and they said the toughest city to get people to move to was Sarnia. The toughest city to get people to leave was Sarnia. And many of the people that get transferred out of this community that have served on Judy's boards and been involved in the community, they keep their home here. They go and do whatever else they're doing in the world, particularly in the chemical industry, and they come back here to retire. That, to me, is probably the best endorsement you can get because that's real. That's not the mayor speaking. That's just what happens.
Okay, let me follow up on that. There have been a number of communities around the province of Ontario that have tried to improve their population numbers by appealing to retired people. Elliott Lake was, I guess, the first and best example of that. Is that part of the strategy here as well?
It is. It's students, retirees, entrepreneurs, and we've focused on retirees at this point because, especially in the GTA, we were running ads in the GTA called "Stuck in Traffic," because
that never happens.
No, never happens. I was there last week, Steve, and I was cursing Toronto at that particular point in time. But we're targeting those groups because they can sell their house in the GTA, and at phenomenal prices, come here and buy a condo on the waterfront for a third. Or less, and have a more moderate climate, as was referenced by Bev, and also be very close to the U.S. Being close to the U.S. is a big issue.
You're an hour from Detroit here?
We're an hour from Detroit. Detroit Airport, we've got all the, they've got a good baseball team. They've got a
pretty good hockey team, too, for a long time.
They do. And actually, in this town, we've always had these split rivalries between Detroit and Toronto. But I think they get all those things. And I'd say both Sarnia and Windsor are very much in the mindset now of people in the Toronto area that want to come to a better place. I'm always amazed when they come in because a lot of times they don't know anyone.
No, I know, but it doesn't take long until they meet
volunteer,
people.
they get to meet people. The community is very open and welcoming. So that's one of the big paybacks is seeing that, and there's communities that don't want to load up on retirees. I welcome anyone. And there's a different type of retiree out there these days. People are retiring in their early 50s, much better income.
Yeah, they got money and health.
And they got money and health, and they want to do things.
Where are you from originally, Judith?
I'm from New Liskeard.
New Liskeard.
Ontario.
Oh, so Sarnia is the big city for you.
It's a big city.
What brought you here originally?
I was really attracted to the size of the college. I was really attracted to the college because I had understood how successful it had been, and also how friendly this area was. And I have to tell you, the weather. When you were born in New Liskeard and then I moved to Sault Ste. Marie, the weather is attractive here. The snow shrinks from here to here.
And what has kept you here?
I love this community. Honestly, the friendliness, this is real. People get together, they work together, the barriers are few. And The college is so close to my heart. I love to see people, young people like Nathan, just turn into wonderful entrepreneurs or have wonderful careers. And their stories from, colleges are all about access. And so we see people who have not had the greatest times in their lives be successful and grow and become fabulous people and great citizens of our community. And wow, it doesn't get much better than that. Seriously, education is an amazing vehicle for change, and it's right here in Sarnia, and it's small, and it's safe, and it's friendly, and the education is, of course, superb.
But it's also affordability.
Of course it
I
is.
mean, you can graduate from any learning institution in North America. And we're reading in our national newspapers every day about how hard it is for students to pay back their debts, get going, invest in a home. Nathan just told us, his partners, not only were they able to come together and invest in entrepreneurism in our community, they can also afford to live here. And I have a son who came back here who lived in the GTA. He said, I was going broke, Mom. And he said, I can go to the beach here every day. He rides his bike every day. He said, this is a wonderful place to live. And all young people say, once they're here, and once I came here, I never wanted to leave. It was awesome. I could be near water every step I took, the river, the lake. I could raise my kids on the water. We have wonderful parks. It was an experience that when our kids got to university, they came home and said, we're really telling a very unique story. I said, I know. It's just an amazing town, and it's friendly, affordable, and for young people looking for a place to get going in their life, this is really a good place to think about.
I don't dispute anything you're saying, other than to say, Nathan, I suspect that most people, when they think kind of young, hip, cool places to live, Toronto's still at the top of their list. Ottawa might be second. Hamilton, I don't know. They're looking at bigger cities first. Yep. Greater Toronto area for sure. What's the thing that you think separates this place from all of those places?
Yeah, it's really immature, actually. I find it, because it's a sense of like, this is what everybody is doing, so this must be the right and the cool thing or the successful thing. I guess I've always just kind of gone the wrong way on the river, and what ends up happening here is that it's all the same things, but everything is like stripped down and simple. Like, I have a couple friends who are moving their 1-year-old son here just in a couple months, and they are paying $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, and they're struggling so hard to get by. They've lived in the neighborhood for 3 years and they don't know anybody. And they're gonna come here and they already have friends from being here, and they can call other people besides myself, for help moving, for help doing all these kinds of things. And so what you get with really big cities is everyone just kind of gets drowned and lost in the midst of all the million things that are going on, and you have to kind of hone in on a small community anyway. And this community doesn't have the same kind of distractions around us. Like, we're an hour from Detroit or London, and those are the kinds of places that we go if we want to do anything big, like go to a baseball game or go see a play. But you have to go an hour anyway of traveling if you're in Toronto to go see the same things. I lived there and I was sitting on a subway for an hour by myself to go to these things. And now you can rent a limo and go to Detroit and enjoy the entire evening for cheaper than getting around in a car in Toronto. So I think here it's just the lack of distraction and the ability to kind of see people for the things that they want to become, rather than for what everyone around them is telling that they need to become.
Your Worship, let me give you the last word on this. Has this place got a slogan? Sarnia got a slogan?
Well, the official slogan is Sarnia Semper, Sarnia Forever, right? And that's adaptable to any century. I think what you're seeing, what I talk about often in the last decade, is the new Sarnia. Not the Sarnia that I came to as an immigrant, the Sarnia that's developed into what these people just talked about today so eloquently, a collaborative community. And a community that really understands that no one wins unless everyone wins. Yeah. And that's what I see out there. And that's pretty deep in a community. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we treasure. Yeah. And it came about the hard way. We had to get down on our knees after we were battered terribly in the 90s, and we came back. We're a comeback city.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who's responsible for what it looks like outside this building today, but it couldn't be more gorgeous. Blue sky, the waterfront looks great, and we're grateful for your hospitality for all of us here who've been here from TVO over the last couple of days. So thanks so much to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit tvo.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.